Thank you. Nice to be here, and we start with, in my opinion, a very important thing, with contacting people. Of course, in this classic six-step approach in dialogue marketing, we have very big number of very interesting and important things. Of course, we must prepare all activities. We must be sure that our approach is really correct. But in my opinion, this phase, second phase, general contact with people is the most important thing. Why? Because if we even prepare everything with an excellent standard, if we have a very nice approach, but we couldn't take a contact with people, of course we will not gather results and we cannot evaluate our activities. So if we're contacting people, of course we can use different approaches. In this project there are 8 implementing partners, and we have 8 different approaches in case of contacting people. Of course, some of them are similar. For example, here there are 2 examples when we start with announcement letter directly to the people and with announcement mail. And of course, after this starting with this announcement letter, we have some responses from the people, we have telephone numbers from them, and we can phone to them or send by post some questionnaires, or we can start with face-to-face contact. Of course, we can add another activities like events, and then we collect some data from these people. Of course, we can decide what will be further procedure, in which way we send them some thank you gifts, for example, in which way we will collect data in case of surveys, which kind of questionnaires we use, of course. But this approach starts with announcement letter to the direct people. And here we have some examples of these direct letters to the people with some places for some information, for information about our telephone numbers, emails, etc. And also this is some paper with the possibility of choosing some gifts for the beginning of cooperation. In case of Krakow, maybe we decide a little bit different approach. So announcement letter was not direct to the people, but to some representatives of our society. Especially, of course, with the local authorities and this not official local authorities, so to the church community, because in our case it works in this way. And then, of course, after the information to the people, so for example, local authorities sent an emails to the inhabitants, some informations were also on some pictures located in the villages, but after matches also spoke information about our surveys. So priests took to the people that don't be afraid, some people from Krakow will come and will ask you about your transportation behavior. Please open the door. It's not a very complicated thing. And after this, we starting with visiting households, and then, of course, if someone decided to speak with us, we start with the cooperation with the questionnaire, of course. So this first contact starts with surveys about the situation before our campaign. And rest activities quite the same, like in case of different regions. Of course, during our activities we have some support, for example, from different departments of Krakow University. One of the directors staying here in this room, for example, also from public transport operators, from representatives of local authorities, also with using, as I said, local churches, and we had also some help of internet trip planner authors, and this is very useful service, and also some instruction how to use this service we had, and with this information put to the people. For example, this is an example of initial letter, and in every case, in case of local authorities, church or schools, we start with phone, with announcement letter, which was in the same time as meeting. So simply phone, meeting with this announcement letter, and after this the doors in many houses were open for us. Because people, if they well informed who comes and what are the surveys, of course this positive attitude was much higher. And additional activity was contact with people during events, not only in Krakow, in Almada, Waldviertel, in different cases we used these meetings. For example, in Krakow, one of the meetings was family festival organized by one of the primary schools, and we were here. This is also Kasia Nosal. It's a very important person in our project. Unfortunately, she is in Krakow and is working still. In case of some first results, of course, of this contacts with people, we could make some groups. So this is the segmentation phase, and we had, of course, some group of people with no information needs, because they are decided to use only cars and nothing else. But 2 persons from this group decided to change their transportation behavior. So we must trust sometimes, and we must simply check if it's really true. Of course, we had some persons with no information needs, because there are experts, because there are users. So in Krakow's area, user is expert. It's normal situation. In Poland, people are very well in ski jumping and in transportation problem solving. This is maybe very local, but it's true. Persons with no information needs, but this is very important group, because there are not at all an option in case of public transport, but we can work with them. And next groups also interesting in case of public transport using, for example, here, group of people open for new experiences. Oh, what next? Sorry. And after this segmentation, of course, we could prepare some information for elderly people, also for students. For example, young people, maybe they are more open for using bicycle during trips to the universities, for example, to the Polytechnica when we work. Oh, this is a picture from some brochure for elderly people. And some information from other partners, because maybe in my presentation a lot of examples are from Krakow, but also our partners were very active, maybe even more active than we. What are the costs of these actions? You can calculate that thousands of gifts, because we decided to use these gifts during the first contact. So for example, during the first contact, hi, I have gifts for you. Can we discuss about transportation? And sometimes it was the opening session starts with gifts. During personal information, also we had some gifts, and thank you gifts we gave to the people during the second surveys phases. So during this surveys after AMC campaign. We had also big packet of different gifts from our partners, from municipal, from the authorities of Krakow, for public transport organizer also, and the last, maybe not the last, but one of the last activities, additional activities, were try out PT rides and some citizens audits, for example, road to school, road to the closest bus stop. For example, sometimes it was very nice event because everything is correct, like here. Sometimes instead of audit and instead of some walking trip, it was just big cruciate against the drivers, like in this case, because this stop area is local parking in this picture, for example. Sometimes our infrastructures look like on this picture. So in this case, it was one funny story when very close to this bus stop, our interviewer asked one man if he changed his transportation behavior and start use public transport, and answer was, "Are you stupid?" Because of this level of infrastructure. So it's very, very hard to change someone's behaviors if we don't have attractive offer of public transportation. Offer of public transportation, this is not only frequency or very modern bus with low floor, but sometimes this first contact with public transport is a barrier, like here. No pavement, no sidewalk, no place for waiting for a bus. Maybe this is a very nice thing. So this is the instruction how to use from some internet tools, especially from the service with a trip planner. Very easy. Even if someone is not so brave during the contact with computer, after this instruction, it was really very easy to plan trip or use a ticket machine located on the stop. Of course, this kind of ticket machines we have in Krakow. Outside of Krakow, rather not. They must buy a ticket in a bus or sometimes in a shop sometimes. Sometimes we try to talk about some consequences of using cars. We discover some kind of calculator for the people. What is the price of trip? Also, what are the consequences for environment? I'm not sure if it's an effect of these comparisons, but we tried. And next activities and the last activities, maybe it was work in schools. Maybe the effects of these meetings in schools are not in this project, because this is a work, and maybe these people change their behavior in comparison to the behaviors of their parents. But in our opinion, this is very easy, and this is very, very important, and also very easy to contact young people. Maybe they will remember some things about the consequences for the environment, and maybe till this moment that they start using public transport transport alone, maybe we complete infrastructure. Because I'm sometimes joking that this project we should start after this European Union financing horizon, because now till 2020 we plan to change the infrastructure, because now we have very nice infrastructure in Krakow, but outside of Krakow still it is like on these pictures that I showed you previously. Of course, after this contact, we complete very big group of people. Please look at these numbers. 508 persons. It was our sample in the first stage before AMC campaign, and this is the biggest number. Effectiveness of these knockings, 25%. And maybe this is the answer on the question if our approach was good in our conditions. In my opinion, yes. Because if we start with letters directly to the people, I'm not an optimist, maybe 5% response we would have. In this case, after the information, especially from the church, please open this door for these people, effectiveness was on the level of 25%. And in case of our region was not so big, area was not so big, so this is also second big number, that more than 10% of inhabitants of all area we interviewed. In the second phase, we contact 425 the same persons. This is 84% of success. In my opinion, in Krakow's region, in Polish regions, this is very big and very big success. Of course, till this final sample of 500, we completed extra 75 persons, but in the most important comparisons of the situations before and after, we used the results from this 425 persons, because they had contact with us before and after. Maybe 2 or 3 slides with some results. For example, after our campaign, you can see this is the level of, we ask people if they know some public transport lines. We had 6 public transport lines, and you can see that after this campaign, much significant number more people know something about these lines. Some people also started using them. And why this face-to-face contact is so seriously important? Because sometimes we also discuss during these surveys why you can't use this public transport. Of course, some people decided not to use public transport. This is interesting, that more people is not interested in public transport after campaign than before. Why? Because information was full, information was completed, and maybe they better know the consequences of using public transport. But you can see also that in different situations, some people see that they have possibility of using public transport, and maybe they discuss using of from public transport. If we talk with people which using public transport now, you can see that the main thing here is more public transport courses, so higher frequency. Still, every time and everywhere in Poland is the same, in rural or suburban areas, more frequent operation. So maybe infrastructure and this more frequent operation is very important. And the last slide, because this is quite interesting. Here there are answers on the questions, is the campaign contributed to transportation behavior change? The answer, yes. Oh, this is more than 50%. And the second question, whether such campaigns should be conducted more often, not only 82 persons decided to use this answer from this 260. This is maybe interesting that people change some behaviors, but saying no to next campaigns. I don't know why, but those are answers from the people. For example, from the group of people saying no, of course, 118 persons saying no, that this campaign doesn't change my transportation behavior, and they say no other campaigns. But for example, 2 persons, oh yes, okay, my transportation behavior are the same, but yes, you can go with these gifts, with another campaign, not a problem for me, yes? Of course, we have a big group of not decided persons, so you can see more than 100 people don't know. But in case of our campaign, it was rather very clear. Yes or no, yes or no. Only 36 persons were not decided. And this is the end of my presentation and our experiences from Krakow, you can see. Sorry for the fast changing some slides, but they are, of course, in the presentation. In this presentation probably is open, so if you want to, you can use it. Okay, thank you.